Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, if you face any problems, please let me know so that we can fix that. Okay, so this course is entirely related to AWS, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes. And in AWS, we are also covering generative AI services. We will be walking through the syllabus today and what we are going to do in this course with that. Okay, so yeah, now let me introduce myself before moving further. Okay, let me yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I'm Shiva. So I have overall 8+ years of experience in industry, and I work with multiple technologies. Initially, I started with development of Spring Boot applications. That means Java-based applications, web services, and all the things. And then I gradually moved to DevOps field, and I work with, as of now, I work with multiple technologies like AWS, Jenkins, Terraform, Docker, Kubernetes, Python, shell scripting, and Groovy. Java, Spring Boot is anyway. That's a thing I have worked on, and I hold multiple certifications. AWS Developer Associate and the Certified Kubernetes Administrator and Terraform Associate certifications in my bucket. So this is a short introduction about myself. So yeah, now let's move further. Today, what is required to join this course and what we are going to do in this course? That's what we are going to do today. And let's move further with that. Okay, so as this course is for AWS, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes, it duration of this course is 60 to 70 days. Okay, that means excluding weekends, because weekends were holidays like Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so 60 to 70 days were the weekends actually. Now, what are the prerequisites? Okay, what are the prerequisites to join this course? Is we are going to start this course from very scratch. Okay, from ABCs to uh, very advanced level actually. So required, what is required for you is a single AWS account. That's it. Anything is not required. Only single AWS account is required, and the laptop is required, and with 4 GB of RAM, because that is in order to practice the labs and in order to practice whatever we discussed in the class, right? So AWS account and the laptop. So these are only the prerequisites. Okay, these are only the prerequisites you need to remember. Okay, so creation of the AWS account, I will be mentioning how to create an AWS account. What are the fields that you what are the details that you need to give to while creating the AWS accounts. I will be mentioning very clearly. But yeah, AWS account is required. Okay, the people who don't know about this AWS account, right? So this they will give 1 year free. Okay, so but 1 year free does not mean everything is free. Okay, there is certain limits for the free limit of the AWS. So you should use the services, AWS services under that limit, so that they will be affording you free of cost, with free of cost actually, right? We will be also discussing the limits, the free limits actually. Okay, so yeah, that's a thing, that's a requirement, that's a prerequisites that you need to have. Okay, who can join this course? Because as we are starting this course from very scratch level, okay, freshers can also join this course, experienced people can also join this course, because while looking at the course content, you will be understanding, okay, so from where we are starting and from where we are taking our course to. Okay, so yeah, experienced people, developers, testers, DevOps aspirants, Linux admins, DB admins, and non students, or whoever want to join can join this course, because this course is like that. Okay, we have put both experienced and non-experienced persons in the mind, and we have designed this course. Okay, so any graduates also can join this course. Okay, so what are the benefits that you are going to get in this course? Actually, doubt clearing sessions and fully documented notes. Okay, you are going to in Docker, we are going to give the documented notes, because the commands and the explanation should be there for the Docker. And for the Kubernetes, whatever the YAML manifest files are there, we will be sharing as part of the drive. So for the AWS, you are going to get the documents. Okay, so yeah, fully documented notes. And please remember, this is very important point here, we are going to do entire hands-on sessions. It's not like a theory sessions actually. It's not like discussion and leaving like that. Okay, we are going to, whatever we discussed, okay, we are going to put that discussion into the three forms. First, theory, and the second, the diagrammatic part, and the third thing will be the practical part. Okay, so each concept will be taught in that manner. Okay, first theory, second diagrammatic, and the third one is lab or practical part. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, the other important part of this course is 10 different projects that we are going to do. I have put the number 10 here, but yeah, this will become more than 10 actually, because yeah, out of this 10, 7 projects are from Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes. Okay, 3 projects I have put is from AWS, but yeah, that number will be increased soon. Okay, because I have not yet decided. 3 projects I have decided from AWS, but yeah, I need to decide which project to mention as which will benefit for you actually. So that's are the 10 projects we are going to do as part of this course. Actually, I have a project presentation as well. Today we are going to do that. Okay, we are going to with the presentation as well. Please bear with me. Okay, so yeah, interview questions. It's also an interview ready course because previous students of mine were properly saying that whatever the concept that are taught in this course were asked in the interviews. That is more than enough. But yeah, it's an interview ready course, and yeah, it's also interview ready course. You are going to get the interview questions. Okay, now we will be starting from very basic level and will be completed the course at very advanced level. You will be noticing that when we discuss about the syllabus actually, right? So the timings is daily 1 to 1 hour 15 minutes. Okay, so 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes. Okay, so it's from 8 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. Okay, so that's our timings, and from Monday to Friday, and the weekends for the holidays. But yeah, most of the time we are not going to take the class on weekends. But yeah, if the time does not permit to us, if any concepts are left in the middle, we are going to take in the class in the weekends. But yeah, most of the time we are 90% of the time we are not going to take. But yeah, that 10% I need to keep it as a buffer. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, so the course content, we are going towards the course concept in the next step, right? If you have any non-technical questions, okay, like access permissions and whatever it is, if you have any non-technical questions, please contact this number, and this is the email address which you can send it to. Okay, so that if they will be from DURGASOFT team will be clarifying your questions and solving your problems. Okay, so this is the introduction for this actually. Now from looking at this, the only prerequisites for you in order to join this course is AWS account as well as 4 GB of RAM laptop. Okay, because yeah, we are going to practice everything: Docker, Jenkins, and Kubernetes, AWS in the AWS account servers itself. Okay, so the creation of AWS accounts, I will be mentioning to you how to create an AWS account, what are the details you need to provide to them in order to create an AWS account. And please remember, for 1 year, it is free, and there is certain limit for that free trial. Actually, you need to fall under that limit so that it will be free actually. Okay, we are going to create some alarms in the AWS account. Like if the cost is reached $100, something like that, $10, you are going to get an email or alarm that your cost for using these services has reached $10, so that you can activate yourself and delete the services which you have created, which is costing you the money. Okay, so that's the type of things also we are going to create as part of the AWS in as a safe side, right? So that's the thing actually. Now let's go to, if you have any questions, you can ask. If not, we will go towards the syllabus. Any questions, please, anyone? Okay, let's go through the syllabus. Okay, so now this course, we will be starting with Docker, but not any other thing. Okay, we'll be starting with Docker. Okay, you can notice here from where we are starting this course from. Okay, we are starting the course from what is SDLC, software development lifecycle, what is DevOps, and where does DevOps position in the SDLC process. Okay, so that's where we are starting this course from. Okay, it's very basic, which you people already know, right? So the importance of DevOps in software release process, introduction to physical servers, virtualization and virtual servers and the cloud, right? What are physical servers? What are the problems that are there in the physical servers? Why the virtualization is evolved because of the problems that are there in the physical servers? And what are the problems in virtualization? And why the virtual servers and the Docker is evolved in that manner, in the step-by-step manner. Okay, we are going to cover actually. Now, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes position in SDLC process, and the importance of Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes in IT industry, right? So yeah, these are the it's an introduction part of our course actually. Now let's start with Docker. We will be starting with Docker after the intro part. Okay, now introduction to Docker and containers. What is Docker and what are containers actually? What containers contain? Okay, why they are running, why they are not running, if they are not running, why they are not running, if they are running, why they are running. Okay, so what are the different things that are there inside the container? So all these things in a detailed manner we are going to look actually. Now, installation of Docker and Docker Compose. Okay, so you people might be having Windows, or you people might be having Linux machines, or your laptop might be different operating system laptops, right? So we are not going to I'm not going to suggest to install a Docker in different machines actually, because the problem which I face, you may not face. Yep, the problem which you face, I may not face. So it will be it will be it will not look good actually. But and we all people will create an Linux machine in the AWS account and we'll practicing the Docker there itself. Okay, because we should be moving in a same track actually, so that we can move forward very easily, right? So explanation of YAML syntax, because YAML syntax is required for Docker Compose, right? So that we are going to towards the YAML syntax, how to write a YAML files. Okay, so yeah, explanation of technical terms in Docker. See, before starting any learning any technology, you need to first learn the technical terms, like what is this, what is this, what is this. So what is Docker host, what is Docker client, what is Docker daemon, what is Docker registry, and what are Docker images. So all these things we are going to learn. Okay, so first technical terms, and then we will be deep dive into that Docker actually. Now Docker deep dive. Okay, so commands used in Docker and the explanation along with their flags actually. Docker commands will be there with their flags, and all those explanation will be there. Okay, now working on Docker images. Okay, what are Docker images? Anyway, we will be covering in this place, right? So yeah, working on Docker images, practical examples and running applications and use cases. Actually, no, we are going to take some of the applications and running as Docker containers and different use cases which are there actually. Now, understanding three-tier architecture, like front end, back end, and database. You people already may know three-tier architecture. Right. So that's the three-tier architecture we are going to establish the communication between the different containers. Okay. So how we can establish, we are going to see, like using hyphen link option, and the Docker Compose we are going to use. There is one more way, using Docker networking. There also we are going to establish a communication between the containers actually. So practical examples and use cases of multi-container architecture. Okay. So all these things, the custom Docker images, creating our own Docker images. Like custom Docker images means creating, see, the Docker, in the Docker Hub, there is a Docker registry where our Docker images are present. We can use that. But in the industry, our applications will be there. How to create a Docker image out of our application. So that's a custom Docker image. So how to create that? Using Docker files, right? We have something called Docker files. Using Docker files, we can create our custom Docker images. Okay, what explanation of different keywords in the Docker file, we are going to see that everything in a practical manner. Okay, everything. Okay, whatever I'm going to discuss here, everything in a practical theory and the diagrammatic manner, so that everyone should be clear with the concepts, because this custom Docker images is very important for the interviews. People will be asking, if you put the Docker in your resume, at least 1 or 2 questions will be there from the Docker file. Okay, because that's that important that is. Okay, because yeah, that's the thing. Docker volumes and Docker networking. Okay, simple Docker volumes and Docker volume containers. The types of Docker volumes, they are actually now in the Docker networking, understanding Docker networking and types: bridge network, null host network, null network, and the overlay network. These are the different types of Docker network. See, all these things might be more technical as of now, because as of my duty, I need to explain the syllabus, what we are going to, you need to know what we are going to do in our course, so that I am explaining the syllabus. If you do not understand what are these technical, please do not mind, actually, do not uh, 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 mind, actually. In the course, it will be very clear for you. Okay, so that's the thing. Practical examples and use cases of Docker volumes and Docker networking. Okay, now advanced concepts and projects. Okay, multi-stage Docker builds for two different applications we are going to do. We are going to take an example of Spring Boot application named data store and storage store. We have, actually, we are going to leverage the concept of multi-stage Docker builds, and we are going to create a Docker images using multi-stage Docker builds. What are the uses of using multi-stage Docker builds? Also, we are going to see, because multi-stage Docker builds is also very important in nowadays, actually, right? Understanding layers in Docker images. Okay, practical examples and use case of multi-stage Docker builds. Okay, projects on Docker and Docker Compose. Okay, debugging and troubleshooting issues, troubleshooting of issues faced in the Docker. Okay, because troubleshooting is very important when we deal with DevOps technologies and DevOps field, actually, because yeah, that's the thing. Okay, what are the different problems that may appear when we discuss with Docker? If those problems we are going to solve, we are going to give the clear explanation of different problems and the solutions for them, and what may problem, what is the reason of this problem that caused this problem, actually. So such kind of explanation will be there, and how to troubleshoot that, how to solve that problem. So that's kind of explanation we are going to get, actually, from this. Okay, so that's a Docker we are going to have. And then we are moving towards the next concept, that is called Introduction to Container Orchestration Technology and the advantages. What are container orchestration technology and advantages? Various orchestration technologies which are available in the market. Just introduction to that, because we are fully focusing on Kubernetes, but not any Docker Swarm, any other container orchestration technology. But yeah, introduction to Kubernetes. Okay, what is Kubernetes? Why we use that Kubernetes? How the Kubernetes has evolved, what are the problems that Kubernetes solves for us, actually. So that's how we are going to start with Kubernetes. Okay, so Kubernetes and installation of tools, we are going to use tons of tools as part of this course. Okay, we are going to use let me I did not put in the syllabus, but yeah, we are going to use different tools, actually. Now, what is K8s? K8s is a shortcut for Kubernetes. What is the meaning of this K8s? Because this is a word of Kubernetes. Between K and S, there are 8 different characters. That is the reason why you have the K8s as a shortcut for Kubernetes. Okay, why Kubernetes? Why we need to use Kubernetes? Okay, installation of kubectl client. Okay, see, in order to communicate with Kubernetes, in order to connect with Kubernetes, you need some tool to connect with that. That is called kubectl tool, right? So you need to install that. We are going to see how to do that, right? So creating a Kubernetes cluster with AWS EKS and YAML. Okay, so because yeah, we are going to see 3 different ways of creating Kubernetes clusters. One is AWS EKS, second one is Minikube, third one is KubeADM, because some might be for you, some might be some organizations might be giving a account to practice, so that you can create AWS EKS cluster, so that you can practice the Kubernetes there, because the AWS EKS is bit costed, and the other KubeADM and the Minikube is with very low cost. So that's what for the low cost people, I am mentioning the KubeADM cluster and Minikube cluster, and the people who has the organization AWS account, you can practice with AWS EKS, right? So that's a 3 ways of creating cluster I'm going to explain, actually. Now, K8 cluster architecture and its component explanation. Okay, so we are going to see the cluster architecture with different components involved in that. Okay, like Kube API server, controller manager, scheduler, etcd, and the kubelet, kube proxy, and the container runtime engine. Okay, all these different components are involved in the Kubernetes. So what an explanation will be there with that, actually. So this is the thing, actually. Now, explanation of technical terms, because as I already mentioned, the technical terms you need to know before moving to any other concepts actually. So that's explanation of technical terms will be there as part of this actually. What are nodes, what are pods, what are deployments, or all these things, technical terms will be there. Okay, now Kubernetes workloads and resources, init containers, pods, replica sets, deployments, daemon set, jobs, cron jobs, and stateful set. Okay, when to use init containers, when to use pods, when to use replica set, when to use deployment, when to use daemon set, when to use job, when to use cron job, when to use stateful set. So in what scenarios you need to use this workloads actually? What is this workload? See, deployments means like whatever it is, or replica set, deployment, daemon set, in which you are running your applications actually. When to use what, and in which scenarios to use what actually. So we are going to see as part of this, and we are going to deploy our applications, stateful applications and stateless applications. Both applications we are going to deploy. We are going to do that in the future actually, right? Explanation of multi-container pods. See, if anyone are feeling complex, do not worry about that. In the course, it is very clear. It will be very clear for you. Okay, explanation of multi-container pods. Okay, why the multi-container pods are required and what are the use of that multi-container pods. Imperative commands and declarative commands for imperative and declarative commands for Kubernetes. So you can deploy the applications two ways into the Kubernetes cluster using commands, imperative commands. I'm using Kubernetes manifest, right? So this is something called, using Kubernetes manifest is something called declarative, and the imperative means using commands. Okay, Kubernetes has given us some commands to deploy our application, so you can do in both way. Imperative is very useful for you in taking the certification, because in the certification you need to save your time. So imperative commands are very useful for you, and the declarative is a real-time use cases. Okay, declarative in the real time people uses declarative way of deploying the applications actually. Practical examples and use case of workloads, this we are going to see, and you can see that. Next we will be moving towards the services and load balancing. Okay, understanding services and its type. Cluster IP, there are different types of services that we have: node port, load balancer, external name, headless service. Okay, understanding multi-port services and practical examples and use case of service and its types. Okay, understanding the DNS. Okay, of for services and pods, we are going to clearly see that. Okay, Kubernetes storage. Okay, as part of the Kubernetes storage, how to store data in the Kubernetes cluster, we are going to say using persistent volumes and persistent volume claims. Okay, we have different types of volumes. Okay, mtdl, host path, static volume provisioning, dynamic volume provisioning. All these things are really real-time use cases actually. And storage classes. Okay, storage classes and everything, as I mentioned, will be practical. Everything will be practical actually. Now, configuring Kubernetes workloads. Okay, what are the different configurations that we can give as part of to the Kubernetes workloads actually? Config maps, secrets, and sealed secrets. We are going to see requests and limits, resource quota, limit ranges, and quality of service classes. So all these things we are going to see. Okay, now understanding different types of deployments and their significance. Horizontal pod autoscaler. It's very interesting actually. Now, suppose your traffic is coming to your application. Okay, today only 100 requests, 100 people are sending the request to your application. Tomorrow there is a sale in your website and 1,000 people are accessing your application. Based on the amount of traffic, your application, your pods will be scaled enough to satisfy that much amount of traffic. See, all these things will be there as part of this horizontal pod autoscaler. Automatically scaling will be happening as part of this. We are going to send more traffic to our pods. We have some script. We are going to send the more traffic to our applications, and we will be noticing the scaling of pods happening in our Kubernetes cluster actually. So all these things we are going to see. Okay, now configuring pods with policies, image pull policy, commands and arguments and its advantages, explanation of namespaces, liveness probe, readiness probe, and startup probes. Okay, because these are for health checks for your applications. Okay, so practical examples and use cases we are going to see very clearly. And then scheduling. As part of the scheduling, we are going to see actually before this, we are going to do some projects. Before scheduling, I have a separate presentation for the project. Okay, so yeah, we will be going through that actually. If you have any questions, please ask, do not mind. Okay, so yeah, scheduling, manual scheduling of workloads, pods, and the node name actually. So how to schedule applications. Suppose we have 3 different servers in the Kubernetes cluster. I want to deploy my application on the second server only. It should not go to first and third servers. So how to do that? Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Scheduling the applications with labels and selectors. Okay, scheduling using taints and tolerations, node affinity. Okay, understanding the difference between the taints and tolerations and node affinity. Okay, understanding the pod affinity, anti-pod affinity, and the difference. Okay, practical examples. Everything will be practical. Okay. Then, as part of the security, we are going towards the understanding the service accounts. Okay, what are service accounts? Okay, why we use service accounts in Kubernetes? Okay, now using a service account with Kubernetes dashboard application, we are going to deploy Kubernetes dashboard application where we can monitor our application, our Kubernetes cluster with this Kubernetes dashboard application. We are going to see. Okay, so roles, role binding, cluster role, and cluster role binding. Okay, RBAC, we call it as like it's a role-based access control. Suppose in your organization, there might be different peoples with different roles. There might be developers, there might be testers, there might be design people, or whatever it is. Everyone should not have administrator access, entire access within the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, the developer should be able to only view the Kubernetes cluster. Tester should be able to only test the Kubernetes cluster. So you are going to limit the access for the people in your organization. How to do that? Using RBAC, RBAC, role-based access control. You are going to control the access for the different people. Okay, so of your organization using RBAC, that's kind of security that you are going to give. Okay, explanation of static pods. Okay, practical examples and use cases. Everything in this course, as I already mentioned, will be practical. Okay, right. So networking. Okay, now introduction to networking in Kubernetes. Okay, so what is ingress and what is its significance? Okay, practical examples of Nginx and Kong ingress controllers, path-based routing and the host-based routing. So this is very important when we deal with that. Suppose go to the new tab, DURGASOFT.com. See, it opens some website. How it is opening this website? Not just an example I'm saying now, but yeah, we are going to deploy our application as part of the Kubernetes cluster. So we are going to see. I'm going to purchase this domain name, not Durgasoft. There is something called traffic.com. I have purchased in the GoDaddy. Okay, we are going to we are going to type this domain name as part of the browser, and that will be reaching our application. The traffic will be reaching our application present with the Kubernetes cluster, and that will be serving our traffic actually. So how to map what is happening internally when you search this domain name in your browser tab? Okay, what will happen, where the request goes, from where the response comes. So all these things we are going to see as part of the host-based and the path-based routing. Okay, path-based routing, host-based routing, all these things we are going to see. Understanding the network policies and use cases. Okay, so practical examples and use case of networking, all these things we are going to very clearly see that everything will be practical. Okay, everything will be practical. Now monitoring and troubleshooting. Okay, introduction to logging and monitoring. Okay, different issues that may occur in Kubernetes cluster. What are the different issues that may occur while you're working with the Kubernetes actually, based on my experience? So that you'll be prior knowing that this problem may occur, this is a solution for that. What is this problem? If this problem occurred, so this is a solution. This is why this problem is appearing, and this is what the solution for it. This is how you need to take the steps to solve that problem. So that's how you are going to get this course, get the concepts with. Okay, now logging and monitoring. Okay, different issues that the Kubernetes handles. Okay, visiting logs and describing the application to debug the applications. Like, so understanding problems and their significance. Monitoring cluster with Kubernetes dashboard. Okay, now other tools which we are going to see. Helm chat. Okay, we are going to towards the Helm chats. Okay, so installing Helm chat and working with it. Okay, commands used to deploy applications with Helm chat and explanation. Okay, how to do, what are templates, what are name templates, what are the different functions are there. Okay, how to organize your YAML files as part of the Helm chat. So all these things with a practical manner will be there. Okay, working with Helm and explanation of folder structure, functions, conditions, loops in Helm chart, Helm templating and name templates, project on Helm chart. Okay, all these things will be in practical. Okay, so projects. Okay, so projects on the combination of Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, KNS, and Argo CD. Okay, one tool which I have not mentioned, I have to mention actually. There is an Argo CD which we are going to see. KNS and Argo CD we are going to see also. Argo CD, there is a project on it. Okay, so this is what I have mentioned here. So we have separate presentation as I already mentioned. We will be going through that. After this Kubernetes, we will be moving towards the Jenkins. Okay, so just it's an introduction to Jenkins actually. Okay, what is architecture of Jenkins, technical terms in Jenkins, like what is CI and CD. Okay, Jenkins deep dive, creating a freestyle project and pipeline projects. Okay, how to write a pipeline syntax. Okay, now we have two types of syntaxes, scripted. Okay, so and the declarative, and we are going to see the declarative types of syntax because that is the most used types of syntax actually. Okay, so integration, we are going to integrate our Jenkins pipeline with multiple tools actually. We are going to integrate with GitHub, SonarQube, Docker Hub, Trivy, and the Kubernetes. Okay, so all these things we are going to integrate our Jenkins pipeline with. One more thing, we are going to integrate our Jenkins pipeline with the Docker. We are going to use Docker containers as agents as part of this Jenkins actually. Okay, okay, so we will be seeing in that. If I explain now, it will be very confusing for you. Okay, so Jenkins configuration actually. Now, configuring credentials in Jenkins to use them in pipeline, how to configure the credentials. Suppose you have the password, database password, and you have some AWS secret key. So writing that secret keys, writing the password in the Jenkins Jenkins pipeline is not a good practice. You need how to secure them. Okay, so that's what you are going to see, the credentials. Okay, configuring custom environment variables. Okay, configuring Jenkins pipeline with parameters, upstream and downstream projects, predefined environmental variables. Okay, Jenkins pipeline, role management in the Jenkins also. Okay, we have something called user and role management actually, where the people should not have entire Jenkins console access. How much amount of the people should have the access, that much amount you should give them actually. So that's how you are going to user and role management we are going to see actually. Using plugins in Jenkins, we are going to towards a very much actually this here. Blue Ocean plugin, parameter trigger plugin, we have Docker agents plugin, so user role based strategy plugin. So all these things, Sonar scanner plugin. So all these things, plugins we are going to use as part of the Jenkins in order to work with that actually. Exploring Jenkins stash and working with it. Okay, so what is Jenkins stash? Okay, we are going to see that actually. Jenkins troubleshooting and backup. Okay, troubleshooting issues faced and possible problems in Jenkins. What are the different problems that may occur in Jenkins? How to solve the problems if the problem appears? So that's what we are going to see. Backup and restore of required things in Jenkins. There are many things that need to back up from the Jenkins, and there are many ways with which you can back up your Jenkins actually. You can use plugin that is called thin backup, and you can create a snapshots from the AWS. Okay, because we are going to install this Jenkins as part of the AWS servers. You can create EBS snapshots that we are going to see very clearly, but yeah, do not worry about that now, because yeah, that's very technical. Okay, the projects on Jenkins, projects on combination of Jenkins, Java, Maven, SonarQube, Docker, Trivy, and Kubernetes. We are going to automate everything. Okay, because yeah, in what level automation will be there, I'll be telling you, right? Once the developer pushed his code to GitHub repository, until the deployment of that application to the Kubernetes cluster, everything will be automated as part of our Jenkins pipeline. That kind of project we are going to do. I'll be having, I have a diagram, so that I have a presentation, so that it will be very clear for you there when we deal with that one actually, right? So that is the Jenkins we are going to see. Okay, now Amazon Web Services. At the last, we are going towards the Amazon Web Services. I have put only the service names, but there are many things internal with that service names actually. We are going towards the VPC. Okay, Virtual Private Cloud, Route 53. Okay, it's a DNS service where we need to map our domain name, okay, to our IP address or the DNS name, whatever it is. So yeah, we have some records there, a record and CNAME record, we have something like that. So we will be seeing that route 53. EC2, where we are going to provision our servers, create our servers. Provision means create. Okay, so we are going to create our servers. Okay, virtual machines that we call servers, virtual machines, all this the same. Okay, so now S3, okay, simple storage service. Okay, this we are going to leverage. S3 we are going to leverage as part of Amazon Bedrock, because yeah, I'll be telling you there. Okay, Amazon S3 we are going to see. Okay, so AWS Lambda, this is something called serverless service where you can run your program as part of the requirement. Okay, so that's the thing. AWS Lambda. Okay, CloudWatch. CloudWatch is a monitoring service that is provided to us by the AWS. Okay, so we can set an alarm, okay, in the CloudWatch, like where there are many options that are there in the CloudWatch. Okay, so as part of the cloud, but I have put only the service names, do not worry about that. Okay, the CloudTrail, okay, who logged into the AWS account, who did what. If someone, I have logged into my AWS account, I have terminated the instance. Okay, so that record will be handled by this CloudTrail. By looking at the CloudTrail events, I can find that who logged into the AWS account, who did what, how to find that. Okay, so we are going towards the CloudTrail. RDS service, relational database service. Okay, so this is a database service. Okay, that's the thing. SNS topic. Okay, so SNS, simple notification service, where we can send our notifications to different emails. Okay, actually, right. So IAM service, identity and access management. Okay, so then our AI services will start. Okay, so these are all the different AI services that we are going to see. Amazon Bedrock, that's a very important AI service that we are going to see as part of this course. Suppose go to your ChatGPT, ask the ChatGPT any data about your organizations. Like suppose your organization storing any log files. So like application log file. Suppose your application log file, there are 500 errors, actually 505 HTTP code errors. So just ask the ChatGPT, like, is there any 500 errors with this application, with the www.google.com or with the www.youtube.com? So how it can provide us, because that model is not trained with that data. Okay, how to train a model with your organization data? Okay, so that your organization team, your organization people can use that AI model to solve the problems very quickly. Okay, so how to train that? We are going to connect this Amazon Bedrock model with the Amazon S3 bucket, where we will, in the S3 bucket, we are going to store the data which we are going to train our model with, and our Amazon Bedrock will be giving the answers to that. Actually, we are going to train the model with our own organization data. Okay, we are customizing the model. Okay, what is this? All these things, do not worry about that now. Just keep in mind, we are going towards the AI services as well. Okay, Amazon Q, this is also one of the AI services where we can create a chatbots. Okay, so that's the thing. Amazon managed AI, other Amazon managed AI services, like Amazon Comprehend, Amazon Translate and Transcribe, Amazon Poly, Amazon Recognition, Amazon Forecast, Amazon Textract. Okay, other concepts, just it's a theory. Okay, now AI, machine learning and deep learning and Gen AI. One more thing I have forgot to mention. First, before learning this Amazon Bedrock and all these things, we will be seeing what is generative AI, okay, why that been popular, and where the generative AI fits in the entire AI. It's not an generative AI is a part of entire AI, but it is not entirely an AI. Okay, it's a part of that AI actually, where at what position that generative AI fits into the AI. Actually, AI is yeah, that's the thing actually we are going to see. So before doing this, actually, because you need to get the introduction for that, then only you can deep dive, right? So that's the thing. Now AI, ML, machine learning, deep learning and generative AI. Okay, training data, how to train the data, and supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Okay, reinforcement learning actually. Now all these things we are going to see as part of the AWS. Okay, some more projects might be added in this. Okay, as of I've already given you the commitment that I am going to discuss the 10 different projects that will be there definitely, but yeah, projects will be added in the future. Okay, so yeah, summarize. Okay, we are going to summarize everything that we are learned and move further with that actually. Okay, that's a core syllabus we are having. It's a huge, and you can understand from where we are starting and from to where we are ending. Okay, so that's a thing actually. If you have any questions, you can ask. If not, we will be moving towards the presentation of the projects that we are going to do. Okay, any questions, please? Anyone, any questions, please?
One question, like post completion of AWS session, right? Like what certification we can aim for?
You can aim for solution architect. You can aim for what is that? Practitioner. And this is not a AWS developer. You can aim for these two certifications actually, because AWS developer consists of many other concepts that need to be implemented in this. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of like project, you mentioned like all the project will be pushed to the GitHub, and any
Mm-hmm.
like brief intro will be provided on like what project is this about, like
Yes,
Java
yes.
application.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Next presentation is that.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay. So now let's go to the project presentation. Okay. So this I have put only Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes. We are going to have AWS projects also, but yeah, I'm going to now explain the 7 different projects. Okay. So yeah, let me go to slideshow. Okay. Now this is the first project that we are going to do as part of the Docker. Okay. This is a project that we are going to do as part of the Docker. Now you can notice there are many tools that we are using here. Okay, for Postman we are going to use. Okay, we are going to use Mongo Compass. Okay, so we are going to deploy our application as a Docker container as part of this custom network, and we are going to deploy MongoDB as part of the custom network, and we are going to establish the communication between the Spring Boot application and the MongoDB container, and we are sending the traffic to the Spring Boot application from the Postman, and we are going to store the data. Spring Boot application will be storing the data as part of this MongoDB database, and we can view the data which is stored as part of the MongoDB database from the Mongo Compass. So see, this is part by part I've explained, but everything in this which you are looking in this diagram will be automated with Docker Compose. Okay, so creation of custom network, creation of Spring Boot application. Okay, creation of Spring Boot application means creation of Docker image and deploying of Spring Boot application. So all these things, deploying of MongoDB application, port mappings between the Docker host and the Docker container, and the port mapping between the MongoDB container and the Docker host. Okay, now all these things, creation of Docker image from the Docker file and deploying as a Spring Boot application as a Docker container, all these things will be automated. Everything will be automated with the Docker Compose. It's an automation that we are going to do as part of this project, and the Docker concepts also. Okay, now everything will be automated as part of the project. This project number 1 as part of the Docker. This project consists of the concepts of Docker file, Docker volumes, Docker compose, Docker networking, container communication. See, we might be learning individually, the concepts we might be learning individually, but how they work together, okay, that also is very important when we deal with the real time. Actually, you need to understand how we can connect different concepts that we have learned. So this project contains all these concepts we have put together and designed this project actually. Okay, so this is the first project as part of the Docker we are going to do, and the second project is this one. Okay, so the second project is with the Kubernetes. Okay, the second project is with the Kubernetes. In this project, we are going to use, there are many things in this project actually. We are going to store our image as part of the AWS ECR also. Okay, AWS ECR. Docker image will be there. The Docker image will be stored to AWS ECR, and we are going to take that image and deploy as a container in the Kubernetes cluster. This is something called deployments. Okay, so this many components are involved in this. Actually, services, deployments, replica set. Docker Hub, ECR, taking the backups of the data that is stored as part of your applications, and the persistent volume claims, storage classes, dynamic volume provisioning, horizontal protoscaler, health checks, secrets, config maps, limits, resources, requests and limits, namespaces, resource quota, job and cron job. Everything is covered. Everything means until this project, what we have learned will be covered as part of this project actually. So that important the project is deploying the two-tier architecture with each and every concept, like taking from the backup, from the storing of images and dynamic volume provisioning and provisioning the volumes from the AWS EBS, like all these things will be happened as part of this project actually. How to perform the health checks using liveness probe, readiness probe, and the startup probes. Okay, all these things will be happening as part of this project. Then we are going to use Postman to send the API request to our application and get the response back to our Postman actually, right? So all these things, there are many things involved in this project, but yeah, if I explain now, it might not be understanding to you. So this is a project number 2 that we are going to do actually. Now, this is a project number 3 where we have added the path-based routing and the host-based routing as part of this project actually, based on the API request. Okay, suppose you have www.youtube.com/test. Okay, so when the user entered in the browser www.youtube.com/test, then the traffic should be reaching to one application. Okay, when the user entered www.youtube.com/demo, okay, then the traffic should be reaching to other applications. So how to perform that path-based routing as part of the Kubernetes cluster? Okay, we are going to see, as part of this project, the extra thing from the second to third I have included is security and the networking I've included here. As part of the security, we have here role-based access control, RBAC, okay, role binding, cluster role and cluster role binding, okay, and the ingress controllers, Nginx ingress controller, Kong ingress controller. We are going to leverage the load balancer in AWS, and we are going to map the DNS name of the load balancer with the Route 53 domain name. The domain name we are going to purchase as part of the GoDaddy. Okay, so you can also purchase directly as part of the Route 53, but yeah, it will be costly there, and that is why I purchased the GoDaddy. In the GoDaddy, how to connect the GoDaddy with the Route 53, and we are going to request to our application from the browser actually. So how to do that? Okay, we are going to see everything from scratch, and it will be very detailed. Now after doing this project, after suppose you enter, you will be getting an idea that when you enter www.youtube.com, what will be happening when you search for that. You will be getting that type of knowledge as after doing this project actually, right? So we'll be very clearly seeing with the diagrams, okay, theory part and the practical part. Okay, so all these things actually. Now this is project number 3, and this is a project number 4 we are going to do actually. Now we will be having GitHub where our Kubernetes manifest files will be present. Okay, now Argo CD, we are going to use a tool called Argo CD. Whenever there is a change to the manifest files in the GitHub repository, automatically those changes will be detected by our Argo CD and this Argo CD deploys those changes to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, automatically without we manually changing anything. This everything is automated, and we are going to set up that automation. Okay, how to do that we are going to see clearly actually. Now we are going towards the Helm also in this Helm also there actually in this project, and we are going to monitor this Kubernetes dashboard with 3 different tools. One is the Kubernetes dashboard application. The second one is K9s tool. It's a very popular tool. It's a client-side tool. It's a server. Kubernetes dashboard is a server-side tool. K9s is a client-side tool, and the rancher is a server side tool. What is server side? What is client side? We are also going to see that, but do not worry as of now. Okay, so all these tools we are going to see. This is a project number 4 actually. Now, how to set up this? Okay, so all these things we are going to see. This is a project number 5. It's all the projects which I'm mentioning is very, very important, the real-time projects. So this is something called log collection. Suppose you deployed your application as part of the Kubernetes cluster, right? Your application might be generating some logs, right? So like what are logs? I'll be discussing in the classes, but yeah, so your application might be generating some logs. So always going to the Kubernetes cluster and checking the logs is not a feasible solution as when we deal with the Kubernetes actually orchestration technologies. Now we will be exporting the logs from the Kubernetes cluster to the external tool that is called Elasticsearch. Okay, so and we will be viewing that logs as part of the Kibana. Okay, so all these things will be there actually. This is called EFK stack. Some of you people might be heard about it. Okay, so there are 2 types of logging mechanisms that are there: ELK and EFK. Okay, ELK Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana, and EFK Elasticsearch, FluentBit, and Kibana. Okay, so we are going to use EFK stack in order to perform the log collection from the Kubernetes cluster, and we can view the logs as part of the Kibana dashboard. It will be very useful to debug the problems by looking at the logs actually. So this is the project number. How to set up this? What are the different things that are involved in this? So all these things. That is the project number 5. Okay, now the project number 6 is monitoring. Okay, this is something called logging, and this is something called monitoring. Okay, so from the Kubernetes cluster, we are going to fetch out the metrics, okay, and send the metrics to Prometheus. Prometheus is also one of the tool. Okay, and from the Prometheus, Grafana will be taking the data, and we can view the dashboards, how many requests are coming, how much amount of CPU is used by my application in the Kubernetes, deployed in the Kubernetes cluster. How much do I need to increase the amount of CPU by looking at this dashboards? You can see that it is the dashboards will be like graphs, something like this right side. Okay, now as part of this project, I've also included something. Okay, we are going to do instrumentation for your Spring Boot application. We are going to do adding some dependencies from your Spring. See, do not worry about this. This is all the developer thing actually. But yeah, do not worry about this. Okay, so we will be doing one second. Some instrumentation. That means we are going to add dependencies, and we are going to convert the logs into Prometheus understandable format, metrics to the Prometheus understandable format by adding dependencies like actuator and the micrometer, and so that we will be able to know how many number of requests are coming to your application. Okay, so how out of those requests, how many are successful requests, how many are failure requests? Such kind of internal things also we will be able to know by doing the instrumentation. I am planning to add one more thing to this project to send notifications. Like if when you deploy this application to the Kubernetes cluster, if this application is down, and you should get the notification through your email or your Slack channel, so that you'll be able to know that this application is down in the Kubernetes cluster. So with the alert manager, I'm planning to add, but yeah, as of now, this is a project number 6. Okay, we are going to do actually, right? So this is a project number 6, and this is an optional project, but yeah, this is an optional project. The project number 7, which I mentioned, is an optional project. Okay, this is a service mesh. We are going to integrate STO with our Kubernetes cluster. All these things will be there. We are going to view the traffic with the Kiali tool deployed in the Kubernetes cluster. Actually, this is also very interesting, but the optional project which I have mentioned actually. Okay, based on the conditions, based on the timings, I will be we will be doing this project. That's why I put an optional project here. Okay, project number 7 is optional. Okay, now the project number 8. Okay, this is the full automation of the Jenkins pipeline we are going to do. Actually, you can see that based on the developers will be pushing the code to the GitHub repository left side, and the Jenkins will be automatically triggered. Maven build will be happening. Execution of Maven test cases. Execution of the test cases. Developers will also be writing the unit test cases, right? So that test cases will be executed automatically. This application will be integrated with SonarQube to find out any vulnerabilities that are there as part of that application dependencies, and to find out any duplicates and redundancies in there. This SonarQube is a tool where we have something called quality gates and different things actually. So there, and we can restrict some of the things as part of the SonarQube tool actually. So that's a SonarQube, and we are going to see very clearly. But yeah, that's just introduction. Okay, the JFrog is a tool where we need to store our artifacts, like the jar files which is generated by this pipeline. Okay, JFrog, and after that, after the JFrog stage, the Docker image, creation of Docker image will be happening. After the Docker image, the Docker image will be scanned with the Trivy tool. Trivy is a separate tool, another tool with which you can scan the Docker image. And after the scanning of the Docker image got completed, and the pushing of the Docker image to the Docker Hub will be there. And the cleanup activities, like after the pushing, there is no point of having the Docker image on the Jenkins machine. So you need to remove the Docker image. So the cleanup activities, once the cleanup activities got completed, and another pipeline will be triggered, the downstream job we call it as, the other pipeline will be triggered. Okay, where this pipeline will be getting the manifest file from the GitHub repository, Kubernetes manifest files, I mean to say, and the updates the manifest files. Okay, when the manifest files are updated in the GitHub repository, right, the Argo CD will be automatically detect that updations as part of the GitHub repository, and then that updations will be automatically deployed to the Kubernetes cluster without we manually interacting with the pipeline. So here, the only thing the developer need to do is to push his code to the GitHub repository. Everything after that is automated until the deployment of that code to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, you can see that importance of this actually. Kubernetes, these are eighth project, but yeah, these are as I have put, this seventh is optional. Let's think this is the seventh project, okay? Because out of these 8 projects, one project is optional, and let's think this is a 7th project. And the 3 more projects from the AWS, I definitely 3 more projects, but yeah, it may increase. It will also increase. Mostly it will be increasing. The projects from the AWS will be increasing actually. So yeah, that's a 10 different projects that we have. I did not put any AWS projects here, but yeah, because I need to plan with that. Okay, so these are the 10 different projects that we are going to do. Okay, so these are the different projects. Before moving, okay, just 5 minutes, please, just 5 minutes. Okay, so how I am going to support you if you have any questions, okay, if you have any problems when you practice, how I am going to support you. That is also a very important thing, right? We will be having a Slack channel, okay? You can install the Slack as part of your laptop or as part of your mobile, okay? So we will be creating a Slack channel. Once you have, once our course is started, okay, the classes are started, you people will be adding into the Slack channel so that we can discuss as part of the Slack. Until the previous batches, I used Telegram, but yeah, I want to use the industry standard way actually. That's why Slack. Okay, so the Slack channel we are going to use in order to discuss our problems when we deal with. Okay, so yeah, any questions with anything do you have today, please? Anyone?
Sir, when you said like GitHub, is the GitHub and GitHub Actions are same
No,
or different?
GitHub Actions is a functionality of GitHub. Okay, GitHub Actions is a functionality of GitHub. GitHub is used to store the our data, like whatever the projects that we have. GitHub Actions is like a pipeline of Jenkins. Like it's something like deploying the application. It's something like automating something. Okay, so it's like a Jenkins only, GitHub Actions. But yeah, GitHub and GitHub Actions are from the same organization, GitHub. But yeah, they meant for different purposes.
So the GitHub is basically just like we have Azure repos, right? Where we put the code.
Yes.
GitHub is something like we push the code to that remote repository, correct?
Yes.
So is this like
Yes.
GitHub is used by industry, like a lot of industry, GitHub?
GitHub, Bitbucket,
Yeah.
and GitLab. 3 tools are used based on their requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about like Jenkins? What we will be covering on Jenkins here in this course?
Yeah, I have mentioned in the syllabus, right? So different things that we are going to cover in the Jenkins. So we are going to cover, let me show you one more time. 1 second. As part of the
Actually, I joined
Jenkins.
late, so yeah, I'm
Sorry, no problem. That's okay. That's a valid question. Okay, so Jenkins, as part of the Jenkins, we are going to deep dive to the Jenkins. This is just an introduction, technical terms, architecture, and different things. Okay, like creation of clusters and everything, and the pipeline project, writing the pipelines. Okay, writing the shared libraries. I did not mention here, but shared library is also there. Okay, so multi-branch pipeline project and creation of pipeline, all these things deep dive. Jenkins integrations, we are going to integrate our Jenkins with multiple tools, actually GitHub, SonarQube, as I mentioned in the diagram, okay, project, Docker Hub, Trivi, Kubernetes, and all these things. Okay, so Jenkins configurations, okay, how to configure different things, downstream and upstream projects, and the credentials, environmental variables, okay, predefined environmental variables, parameters, plugins, stash, Jenkins stash, all these things we are going to see as part of the Jenkins, and troubleshooting and backing up the Jenkins, how to take the backups, and how to do the troubleshooting. And we are going to see as part of the Jenkins, we are going to leverage the Docker containers as agents for the Jenkins pipelines. Actually, we are going to use Docker as an agent, something called, we call it as, and we are going to see the user and role management. Okay, because everyone should not have entire Jenkins console access based on their role. They should have limited access to the Jenkins console. So how to do that, we are going to see as part of all these things. Okay, these are the different things that we are going to see as part of the Jenkins.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So we will start with Jenkins first or Docker Kubernetes first?
No. We are going to start with Docker and Kubernetes because Jenkins is kind of an automation pipelines, right? So, to do that, you need to understand first Docker and Kubernetes, because we are going to use this manual things in order to perform automation in the Jenkins. Okay, without understanding the manual things, you cannot do automation, right? So you need to first understand how to do manually, then you can automate very easily.
Okay.
That's why we will be moving towards the first Docker and Kubernetes, then Jenkins.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And you said this duration is 60 days for this course?
Yeah, 60 to 70 days. Okay. So
Okay.
between the 60 and 70.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can ask. If not, please go ahead and register for the course. And that's what I can say. And any questions, please?
So when is the regular class starting?
It kind of regular classes only. Like we are going to start, we are going to move towards, and in the few days, or I think mostly on Monday, we are going to change the link. Until this Friday, demo classes will be there, and from
Okay.
Monday we are going to change the link. It's like a regular classes only. It's not a different classes. It's a regular class only.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So tomorrow there will be a regular class, or it will be an extension of the demo class itself?
No. Tomorrow there will be a regular class. Again, I'm not going to explain all these things. Just introduction will be given. Then moving towards these concepts, DevOps things.
So then it's mandatory that we register before tomorrow?
It's not a mandatory. You can register before the demo classes, before Monday.
Before Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
Course wise, you said like we will be like starting with Docker. Once we finish Docker, we will go on Kubernetes and then Jenkins and then AWS, right, sir?
Yeah. That's the
And
way we are going to follow.
so once we finish Docker, then we will have the project which you showed. Like how are
Yes.
we going to deal with a project like that one you showed?
Yes. We are not going to do all the projects at once. Yes, you are right. After the
Yeah.
Docker, we are going to do the project. After some concepts of Kubernetes, we are going to do the project on that concepts. Like that, middle will be there. Projects will be there on the middle. Like completing the concepts all together and doing the projects all together. It's not like that. It will be not a good practice, right? So
Right.
yeah, you are right.
And are we touching anything like Sensible, Ansible or Terraform here?
No, sorry, it's not that part of the course actually.
Okay. Yeah, just
Yeah.
curious. No issues. No.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, if you don't have, please go ahead and join the course. Thank you. Thanks for joining the session and have a good day. And we'll be meeting tomorrow at the same 8 a.m. morning. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.